We're going to try to get started, so I would like to really welcome, we are so blessed today to have our elected officials with us, and we also have different offices here. So let me just set the house straight to see who's here. Manhattan Community Board 10 members stand. If you're a member of Manhattan Community Board 10. Okay, thank you. And all of those who are volunteering, I already recognize those who put this together. But thank you. I want to recognize all of our Community Board 10 members. I also know the Public Advocate's office is here, our New York City Public Advocate office, have been listening to some of the concerns. You know, they also produce a slumlord list, and very important to us. At this time, we're going to invite our panelists to come up and sit in their respective seats. So we have joining us, we have our City Council member, Yusef Salaam. We have our State Senator, Cordell Cleare. We have our Assemblymember Al Taylor, and our Assemblymember Jordan Wright. And so, all right, I just want to also say, if you have a question, please, we have index cards floating around. Please get that in so that it can be shared and read. First of all, we want to thank you all for joining us. As this is housing is the #1 issue consistent of, not just in the city, the state, but #1 for our district when we have our district needs statement. So it has always been rated #1 for at least the last 5 years, okay? And so we are grateful that you're here, and we're going to allow you to, start us off with each elected official has been asked to provide up to 5 minutes of some initiatives they may be working on, or why is this issue so important to them as well. Okay, and we really want to hear from them and kind of their plans, their ideas, and why this is the #1 issue. And from there, we will start with some questions. Is that okay? So we're going to start, we will start with our State Senator, Cordell Cleare.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first thank Community Board 10 for putting this very important forum together for our community. When we are in difficult times, the best thing to do is always organize. And this is a part of organizing. When you organize, you have to be informed. We're here today to discuss one of the most important issues of the day, not just housing. It has to be housing we can afford. Right. That is the issue. Namely, permanently affordable, high-quality housing that keeps Harlem whole and does not displace anyone. Housing is the issue. One of the issues I ran on, and it's an issue that I intend to fully address in my tenure in the Senate. I'm confident that with exceptional partners like this community board, we can solve the puzzle. We've been seeing rapid gentrification and displacement in Harlem. These have been coupled with widely inadequate policies of the past that left our community vulnerable to this displacement. And what we have going on for us now is knowledge. We know that many of the programs of the past, like 421A and housing tax credits, did not build permanently affordable housing. In fact, those programs cost New York City nearly $2 billion a year in the years it existed. How's everybody enjoying the affordable homes it produced? The math done by state and city agencies up to this point has been done to please the bottom line of developers. Now, we like developers. We want them to make money. But it can't be at the expense of us not being able to afford to live in our community. By doing so, we have yielded a handful of affordable units at the cost of market rate monoliths, displacement, and gentrification. Over 200,000 Black people have left New York City, specifically in zip code 10026 In the southern part of Community Board 10, the proportion of black residents decreased from 54% to what?
42.
Come on, 42%. That is unacceptable, and a direct result of being constantly told we must satisfy for-profit development in order to build housing. We need a simple yet apparently revolutionary shift in our affordable housing math. When constructing or preserving housing, you must meet people where they're at. The median income of 10026 is roughly, with gentrification now, $70,000 a year. The median income of blacks in that zip code is a little over $53,000 a year. So if we're trying to build housing to house black and other residents making this median wage, rents cannot be more than a third of their income, period. Any other calculation to provide profitable housing simply means building unaffordable housing. What is the point? And so, that has been my message on all the developments presented to me, from Lincoln Correctional Facility, Seneca Project, to 145. Build housing that our people can afford to live in or not. In the long term, I have a city and statewide solution. Our state's new housing affordable home program must be the creation of the Social Housing Development Authority that has one mission only: the preservation and construction of permanently affordable housing in communities all over this state. Not since McClure has anything been done for workforce, for people who are living below that median income. It's time to do that. This social housing authority is a replication of one of the only proven programs of the past, which I just spoke about, namely McClure, yet on a far grander and more efficient and effective scale. In doing so, we will treat permanently affordable housing as a social good that the state has vested interest in creating, not just for profit, but for people and for communities. We lived in this community when no one else wanted to.
That's right.
Now we must fight the displacement of the Harlem community, a community built and sustained by Black and Latino New Yorkers. We didn't go away. Some of us left, but we didn't run. We didn't knock down our property. We preserved this community. We deserve to be here. We fought. We were in those blind associations. We were in those tenant associations. I stood with many of you, my parents, who fought. They didn't fight because they wanted this community to be better without me. They fought because they wanted a better community that included all of us, including me, and our children who have gone away, who have gotten educations and have a right to come back to where they live and give back. So we are losing more than just housing. We're losing talent. We're losing skills. We're losing people with lived experience who have valuable information and education to come back and share with us.
That's right.
So we have to make sure this is not just about buildings, and mind you, it's not just about housing. Everything is being gentrified.
Thank you.
The use of our parks, all of that is a part of the picture. Our schools, our institutions, our culture. So when you take away one thing, you are affecting the other things. Black business, small black business, mom and pop shops, lounges, restaurants. You're not going to see your face in them if we're not able to live here.
That's right.
So that's all. I urge everyone to support our bill, make public housing a public good. We have to support public housing. That's another thing that's on my mind, and something that has long been neglected. And the federal government has basically divested. They have basically not contributed to public housing. My class in the Senate and the state legislature is the first ever to give money to public housing. Because we can't afford to let it fail. That is the means means by which so many of us were able to raise our families, were able to live in Harlem, and were able to continue and not pay most of your income in rent or in maintenance. You shouldn't be paying half your rent, half your income, 75% of your income just for your living accommodation. That's not living. And don't let anybody make you think, because someone said to me, well, if they can't afford to live there, then they should move. No, they can afford to live here, but not at those prices. And you are contributing, you are working, you are our home care workers, you keep this city going, our bus drivers, our conductors, you are keeping this city going and look after it. So don't let them victim blame us as if we need to make more money, and that's the only reason why we should decide to live here. No, we contribute to this city, we deserve to be here, and we gotta fight to stay.
Okay, so we're going to do now. I'm going to shave a minute off everyone. 4 minutes, okay? Up to 4 minutes. We're going to go with our council member. We're going to welcome Councilmember Yusef Salaam.
First, I want to say Salaam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's usually how I open, but I usually open in English by saying, may the peace, mercy, and blessings from the owner of all peace, mercy, and blessings be upon each and every one of you and your families. Prior to becoming a council member, one of the things that stood out in my mind was that something wasn't right. Something weird was going on. And the reason why I wasn't able to articulate the situation was because I was a victim. Dr. James Baldwin said, the person who can articulate the situation ceases to be the victim, but then becomes the threat. And the truth of the matter is that the way that our senator has just laid out all things in front of us, what we must know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that we have been inside of someone else's plan. All of the things that they have been telling us, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like Dr. King said, that's one of the most cruel things to tell a Buddhist man. But here we are, trying to survive, trying to figure it out. Those of us who have been getting educated, who want to come back, like our Assemblyman has said so many times. You want to be able to become your ancestors' wildest dreams by being able to provide the light in these dark spaces that so desperately need. So I want to begin by saying, Harlem is confronting a housing crisis shaped by a mix of escalating rents, declining affordability, aging public housing, and pressures from speculative development. That sounds like a storm, as opposed to just a mix of just a crisis. These dynamics have put thousands of long-standing residents, many of them black and/or immigrant, who are working class at risk of displacement. The City of Yes for Housing Opportunity recently passed by the New York City Council provides zoning aimed at expanding housing supply across all neighborhoods. It's not a silver bullet, but it's a meaningful step towards ensuring Harlem is not alone in carrying the burden of restoring affordability. Alongside this, additional legislation focused on contractor transparency and housing governance is being advanced to protect Harlem residents and promote safer, more accountable housing practices. So, here's what we did in the City Council. We passed the City of Yes bill, and in that we said, we had the universal affordability preference allowing buildings in medium and high density districts to add at least 20% more housing. In addition to homes are income restricted and affordable to households earning 60% of the area median income. We gotta do something about that, Like I keep harping on that. The brother just said don't use it. One of the challenges is that it's federally regulated. And we really need us to step up to organize, and to push back. It's really just that simple. They don't have to use it. But they're using it because we're inside of someone else's plan. They don't have to use it. Like literally, they can say, you know what? What's the other statement, brother?
Income targeted housing?
Income targeted housing.
That's right.
That sounds right to me. Because when we look at our community and we look at all of the things that have been really planned for us. Oh, if you get up, if you climb out this way, we're gonna close it over here. We're gonna try to like all of that stuff. It got to make sense. So as a result, UAP will deliver new affordable housing in high-cost neighborhoods across New York City to working families. We also did something with accessory dwelling units, ADUs, like backyard cottages. I kind of like that word because it gives us a different outlook on what could be. Backyard cottages, garage conversions, and basement apartments in 1- and 2-family homes in all low-density districts, with restrictions on certain types in certain areas to address concerns found flooding in neighborhood context. Outdated rules that have prevented underused office buildings and other non-residential space from converting to housing. The City of Yes expands non-residential conversions citywide and allows for a wider variety of residential conversions. We also did something with zoning. Zoning prohibited that classic form, modest apartment buildings with stores on the streets and apartments above existing low-density areas across the 5 boroughs. The City of Yes re-legalizes buildings with either 2 or 3 or 4 story of housing above the commercial ground floors, depending on underlying zoning. And across New York City, many campuses, including churches and private residential co-ops, have underused spaces that they could turn into housing by removing obstacles and streamlining outdated rules. City of Yes makes it easier. It makes it easier to add new contextual, height-limited buildings to campuses. These changes do not apply to NYCHA. I know that there was some concern about NYCHA before. We made sure that NYCHA was not a part of this. All of these changes should result in more than 82,000 units of affordable housing over the next 15 years. And in 2004, we in the City Council passed the City for All proposal that will strengthen affordability, home ownership, neighborhood infrastructure, tenant protections, agency capacity, and planning efforts while advancing zoning reforms to produce over 80,000 new homes. $2 billion has been secured in additional housing capacity investments to finance affordable housing developments and preservation, support Mitchell-Lama developments, the New York City Housing Authority, and HDFC rather. We've also found double funding for home first down payment assistance programs, with $41 million and expanding its eligibility to more moderate income New Yorkers for up to 120% of the AMI to increase home ownership opportunities. For the first time in New York City zoning code, affordability requirements in low density zones, districts, will be established to enact inclusionary zoning citywide. And as I wrap, I got so much more on here, because we've been doing a lot. A lot of people have been asking me, hey, what you been doing in the city council? And I gotta tell you, we've been doing a lot. We've been adding our names to bills that make sense. We've been making sure that we are partnering with the right people. And most importantly, maybe I'll end on this stuff. Most importantly, I want you all to know that I have been taking your voices into the halls of power to make sure that your voices are heard. I've been listening to our senator, our people in the assembly, and we've been partnering across the board to make sure we provide defense and also we stand in the gap. So the long and short of it is that we are working for you, and we are our best constituents. Because if we can't live here, nobody can.
Okay, we now have our Assemblymember Al Taylor.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone.
I paid some money for this, man.
Good afternoon. This thing is vibrating. It's so hard to sit and talk.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Al Taylor, representing the 71st Assembly District, Harlem, Washington Heights, and Inwood. I represent a district where people are struggling to pay their rent and rent stabilized, and in the northern part of my district, they're buying apartments and studios for $1 million. That's the 71st Assembly District. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just want you to give the context, and I'm going to be really quick because we only have a little bit of time. I came to hear from you and answer as many questions as we can. To the yes question, say yes, the New York State Legislature put in $1 billion in this to offer in the one house budget to make sure that's financed. There's so much that we can do, but I just want you to go back for 30 seconds in your mind. When 1990, it was abandonment, and the minute you got 2 checks over 50 cents, you got out of here as bad as you could. That condition, which was by design, also pushed the narrative that allowed people to come in. I live in the HCFC. When I moved in it was rented, landlord abandoned it, and then he tried to come back 10 years later to take it without taxes. We're living in perilous times. We are here. I don't think there's been, in my experience, 4 legislators representing Harlem working like this since the Gang of Four. That's my opinion. Now let me sit down.
All right, we're going to now have our Assemblymember Jordan Wright, our newest member to the Assembly. Mr. Jordan Wright, we thank you for being here.
Thank you. Following Al Taylor is always a fun feat, so I'm trying my best. Just want to say really quickly, thank you to Community Board 10. As a former member of a Community Board 11, I understand the really hard work that all of you put in as board members, and even constituents going to board meetings. That's the most granular level of this work. That's where I got my start. So I just want to say thank you all so much for doing all this. Thank you, Marquise. Thank you, Mina. Thank everyone else for setting all this up. First of all, I was born in 1994, and I grew up in a Harlem that looks very different than what I'm seeing now. I walk around on a Sunday afternoon, and I see a much different thing than I saw, even going back early when I was in high school in 2009. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm here to be a part of a good change, a positive change, to make sure that we're moving fast into a bright and fast future. I'm here to say that I'm here to listen to you. I'm more interested in what you have to say, so I'm going to keep this very brief. We've been burdened by this housing crisis, especially here in Harlem, for far too long. Our community was hit with gentrifiers, quote, SoHa, realtors, box stores long before the rest of America. California from top to bottom, small cities, big cities, urban center cities, outskirts, rural villages, suburbs, industry towns, and all of New York City and Upper Manhattan is getting the worst of it. It feels like just yesterday you couldn't get a cab uptown. I used to have my friends hail a cab for me so that when I was downtown so I could get up here so they would actually bring me. I'm going to talk numbers. For the first time in American history, more than half of the country's renters pay more than 30% of their income on housing. Isn't that correct, Senator Cleare? And half of those renters pay more than half of their total income on rent. This is both unprecedented and economically dangerous. Now, no one will be surprised to learn the following. Most of you here probably know this. Since 2019, the biggest jump in housing affordability was for households making from $30,000 to $75,000 a year. Even among those working full-time, a third of those renters are severely cost burdened. Among those folks making less than $30,000, more than 80% of them are severely burdened by housing costs. These are terrifying facts, and the long-term impact is unknown, as a housing crisis of this size has never ever occurred. We are in unprecedented times. We do know that housing affordability is directly linked to inflation that we face every day. At the corner store, at the pumps, in our utility bills, in the cost of basic amenities, in addition to the cost of housing. It's exhausting, it's debilitating, and more than anything else, it is unsustainable. In short, we have our work cut out for us. We have to get creative in finding more ways to build housing that's affordable for everyone. If you were born here, if you were raised here, you definitely deserve to stay here. Okay? And to echo, we literally sit next to each other in the chamber, in the assembly, by the way. So we do a lot of talking. We do a lot of talking, for better or for worse, but I pay attention, I promise. He tries to distract me. But I say all that to say, you have a great group of 4 legislators. I used to work for Councilmember Salaam. I grew up next to Cordell Cleare, in the office right next to her. And like I said, this is my neighbor in the assembly. So we all have a lot of work to do, and we're all here to do it together. I'm gonna shut my mouth and answer some questions. Thank you all so much.
Okay, so I'm gonna do this a little fast. Everyone may not answer the question, but we're gonna try to get as many answers in, but you'll be capped at 1 minute. This is gonna be loud, so you can hear it when it's 1 minute, so we can get as many questions in, and we can pass on to the next person. If 2 people answer 1 question, maybe that's good enough, but we definitely wanna keep it moving. So, first question, this has been mentioned. If you're concerned about gentrification, how are you using your office to combat gentrification? Whoever wants to take it, we'll go 1 minute.
That's a very broad question, but from constituent services to legislation to budget, every single tool I have is used to fight. I use it to fight. From pushing back against Columbia's consumption of the west side of Manhattan, including Harlem, right down to the Seneca, which is a proposed development that the state is doing in the old Lincoln Correctional Facility. Every single tool, if I have to oppose it, I'm going to oppose it. We're going to fight, we're going to talk. I have voted the unpopular vote. When someone says, yes, we're going to do red, we're going to do the trust, no. Not in the condition that it was in, and not with the way it was laid out. Because the devil is in the details. You know, they will run up there and just show you, yeah, you're going to get that HGTV picture, and you're going to get your HGTV bathroom, but you won't be able to live here more than 10 years. So you have to be able to take those stands, the unpopular stands, and I do it at every single level. And you will not get my approval on something that pushes my community out. Lincoln Correctional Facility was used to lock us up. Now the prices that they have on those units are to lock us out.
So, thank you so much. Anybody else want to ask a question?
Let me just give you some data real quickly, and I definitely support my senator. So what we've done in the one house, $1.5 billion for supportive housing, and we put $1 billion for new and affordable rental housing, $750 million for Mitchell-Lama preservations, money that's put there, $120 for Mitchell-Lama, because Mitchell-Lama is the last thing that the state has done to talk to those working class. And every Mitchell-Lama in the state of New York is in disrepair, and there's no money going in. Why? Because the black and brown people, it's the same thing they did in Niger, and there's no inner plumbing, no foundation, and I got 30 seconds, and we put $400 million in buying homes. The other part of that, if you're buying a house for the first time, we put money out there. You don't have to put up anything to get it. Just go get it.
All right, so we're going to do the next question, if you don't mind. So this is, again, I'm reading some tough questions too, right? So we're going to ask all the questions. Why do our relevant elected officials allow developers to structure affordable housing components that are not affordable to 80% of the residents living in the neighborhood where such developments go up? Who are we really representing? Who wants to take that question with 1 minute?
I'll start. So, is my word? Okay, cool. So one thing I will say, and just to kind of piggyback on what Member Taylor just said, I think what we have to really do is invest in what we have now, so we can continue to have more of it and make it work for all of us once again. In regards to developers and the AMI, what's going on is we have to be ensuring that our other partners in government are investing in the housing proposals that are coming into the community render it to make them more affordable, to subsidize the building cost of it, to ensure that the prices can become more relevant, and so we can have people in our neighborhood continuing to live there. And that was hard work to do. No one said it's easy, but it's hard negotiations that have to take place. They're taking place right now. We're always meeting with the governor's office, the mayor's office, our respective executive principals to ensure that Harlem is getting its piece of the pie, because we've been sold out short for far too long. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm definitely echo that because one of the great things about being behind the curtain, and I'm gonna say it like how I talk in the street, being behind the curtain allows you to really see how sausage is made. It allows you to see how we've been tricked before. And we gotta make sure that when we come to the table, we're looking at all of the details. We're bringing all of the stakeholders. We're not leaving out the community. That's how we're gonna make this happen and make it work. And so, you know, I'm at 1 minute, so that's that.
Just something really important that needs to be said too. You know, all of this is happening not as a result of something so current, but because of historical, racist policies that have plagued us for so long. We couldn't get equity, redlining, predatory lending, even the threat of pulling back the Fair Housing Act from our current person in the White House who shall remain nameless. In New York State, just this year, and I thought to see some of the advocates were in the room earlier, what was really important was for us to protect the Fair Housing Act and codify it here in New York State, because we know he's coming for that. Before he was ever elected, him and his father didn't like the Fair Housing Act. When he went in the first time, he messed with the Fair Housing Act. Biden restored it. So we have to look, this is a fight that we're fighting on many levels. So now New York State has codified it. We are looking forward to, in terms of both our houses voting on it, we're looking forward to having that become the law. And we hope that other states will follow our direction. But some of this is rooted in pure racism. So it's not one answer when people are saying gentrification, how do we fight it? There's so many levels to this. And there's so many people who stand to gain from it. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind and trust and believe we are fighting it every step of the way and unraveling the mess.
I referenced earlier how closely we work together, because right now the 145 project is on a hold simply because we want to make sure that everything happens on the city and the state level is there. In my budget request, I've asked for $20 million from the governor to ensure that she will give that to 145 so we can bring subsidy to that location and not bring new people there. I've asked for $10 million for Esplanade Gardens to secure the Mitchell-Lama to fix up the plumbing that's been neglected and everything else in between. But the fight didn't start here, but damn it, we won't kill it. It started before we got here by people that look like us, some of us, and everybody didn't do everything they could have done, because it's not one, as my sister said, it's a combination of things.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question, if anyone feels they can help answer this, where can homeowners get help, since most complaints come from tenants and small homeowners suffer also?
So policy-wise, we are looking into small homeowners being helped. We want them to get a form of some kind of legal help. That has not come through yet. We do have I chair the committee for the aging, so we want to make sure that our older homeowners can get some help, get help with their property taxes, which has been a killer for a lot of our older homeowners, and it's a killer for generational wealth. We recognize that, and we know that is an issue. We want to protect those homeowners. I think a lot of what we wind up working on is the larger owners, because those are truly the ones, some of them, who are predatory in our communities. And that's why you hear a lot of the focus on that. But that doesn't mean that we are not thinking about and acting on behalf of our small homeowners. And also making sure sometimes it's not about what we do for them, it's about what we protect them from.
Yes. Are there any HDFC folks in here? Are there any HDFC shareholders? Raise your hand. Okay. So the 71st Assembly District has houses the most HDFCs. Do you know that you are a homeowner? No, I'm saying that because everybody doesn't know, and to your point, we're protecting those folks as well with other things. And if you want to become a homeowner, New York State has put together their money that you do not have to have anything but a good smile and go for an apartment. Your credit got to be pretty decent. But there's no down deposit that you have to pay because we put that there for first-time homeowners in the state of New York. There's plenty of money there.
All right, so I have a question. This is the person put their name, and thank you, Nyasha Foy, and she says, I'm a president of the Dunbar Tenants Association, but for my rent-controlled apartment, I would not have been financially able to go to graduate school. Because of the executive order, my student loan payments tripled this month, which now exceeds my rent. I understand this is a conversation about housing, but my generation will suffer if we don't talk about this whole picture. What can you do in your capacity to help people in the same situation? And is there a playbook or recommendations from you as in your state and city officials?
Oh, excellent. Listen, 1 year ago today, February 12th, 14 months, I was $600,000 in debt from student loan. So we are rolling out a workshop or webinar for people that are in debt and show them how to get out. I'm telling you, 600 plus in student loan debt. So on the federal level, we can't do a lot of things, but we're trying to codify as much as we can. But there's an organization, and we'll do the webinar. We'll make sure that you all have it at CB10 so you can put it out there. But it will help you to get there because reality is you can't stay in your apartment or wherever you're living if you're trying to pay those type of fees.
Real quick, I just want to, plus one what Member Taylor said, and I understand the suffering, the crippling student loans. I've seen that firsthand with a number of friends of mine, and a lot of my friends were priced out of Harlem because they're paying student loan debt, so they prioritize paying their student loan debt versus staying in the home in their community. These are people that are not doctors, lawyers, et cetera, people who are great members of the community. They should be on the community board here, but they're on the community board down south. They left here. So I just say that to say I'm always working to find out what I can do. I'm new. I just started 3 months ago. I've got some great mentors right next to me. We're going to make sure that the work gets done the right way. And so I just want to say, for the student loan crisis, I understand that as well. I'm also working on some legislation about that too. So thank you all.
Okay, so just as I was going through some of the cards, just to let you all know, some people are writing violations, that things that are going on in their community, in the buildings. So first is, at the end of this, we're going to announce a district manager's number, and you can also get the cards of the council members. If there's specific violations, those are not necessarily questions, but those are things that we obviously, everyone wants to use their capacity to address. So if you would, make sure you get someone's card, and we'll make sure we share that information out so that we can actually keep it to questions. So this question, I'm not sure if anyone can answer, but let's see. It says, why does HPD close 301 initiated cases before solution to the problem has actually been resolved? Does anyone have any response or something that we can do about such a thing? The question was, why does HPD close 301 initiated cases before a solution to the problem has actually been resolved?
It shouldn't be happening. I just learned that a few minutes ago in the workshop that was taking place earlier in your workshop, that the problem is HPD is checking with the landlord to see if they did X, Y, and Z instead of checking with the tenant. So we got to walk that back ASAP, and a lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know until a few minutes ago.
And the process for checking that, just from personal experience, when they come to check on certain things, they don't tell you when they're coming to see if it's done. So I'm not home waiting for you to come here, and I don't know you're coming. The landlord told you he did it, but I didn't know, and there's no way for me to schedule that appointment. So that's something that has to be worked on. But I just want to go back to the last question, or the questions that you referred to. There's one very important thing that really has to happen, everybody. And I said at the beginning, organize, organize, organize. If you're in a building and you don't participate in your tenant association, you are contributing to the problem. If you're in a building and you don't have a tenant association, you are contributing to the problem. You're setting yourself up. You can't like her, I know she talks too much, whatever it is. But at least come together for that one common good. And when you see somebody working to do that, support them. Support them in what they're doing. You don't never have to speak to them otherwise. Get over it. That's right. It's that important that we stick together and support one another in this. Because for sure, they're bounded together by money and they are going to stay together. That's right.
Okay. How can the tenants take control over their building from a slum landlord who doesn't fix things, hard to contact, and if you hold your rent, then they say you owe rent?
True fact, I've been doing this since 1991, working under the tutelage of Denny Brown. One of the things to do, if you decide to hold your rent, make sure that you put it in escrow. If you don't want to put it in escrow because you don't trust people, make sure you get a U.S. postal money order to hold your money, and don't make up this fictitious stuff. So during COVID, a lot of people didn't pay rent. They were able to pay, but they didn't. Some of the stuff that we do to ourselves. So we have to make sure we do it smartly. And if you're going to withhold your rent, but I would also make each one of us accountable in that space so you can come talk to us and we will help you. There are a lot of legal places that will help you, but if they can't, you can start by getting a U.S. postal money order, hold it, and then you can also ask for an HP action yourself. You go to court and say, this is what's going on. And when the landlord comes to see, when they come up to see your apartment, they look at the common areas and they see other stuff, or they get bang, 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 bang. So, okay.
And what he's saying about the HP actions, what happens sometime, we're all together and we go down there and we file for that HP action. And then as soon as I get my bathroom fixed, what do? I'm not with the other people no more.
That's right.
Okay? We have to stay together on these things. Same thing, HCR, the state, they have it for rent stabilized housing, rent control housing, any rent regulated housing, you can file an action with them also for decreased services. But you have to follow through to the end, okay? And make sure everybody gets everything they need. It's about sticking together. These people have lawyers, the best ones, okay? A lot of times we're going up there, we may have a lawyer, and they're good lawyers. I'm not gonna say that about legal aid and other people, but they are overwhelmed. They are overworked. They have such a huge caseload. And the type of time and energy that landlords can put into, their lawyers can put into their cases, oftentimes our lawyers don't have that. So we gotta help them. And the way you help them, you stick together, you document things, you write letters, you make sure that you're telling the landlord that things are going wrong. It's the first thing they're gonna ask you. Did you tell them? Don't just talk to each other on the stoop or in front of the mailboxes and then go to your house. No, you have to get down, write you an email if they have an email address, write you a letter, say something, do something. We all have to act together.
Yes, thank you.
And what I want to add to that is this. So when we started getting these types of requests and complaints, all of it, what we started to tell our constituents was, CC us. Don't just send an email to them, because they're coming back and saying, oh, somebody came and nobody was there. Nobody was there. The problem was fixed. The problem wasn't fixed. Whatever it is, CC us so that we can help and we can follow.
Right, and when you holding that money, that's the other thing that Assemblyman didn't say and it came to my mind, please don't spend that.
Yeah, that part.
Don't spend it. And I know we have situations.
Don't spend it.
Right. I was gonna say, don't spend the money once you save it. I've seen that before. I will live with it. It's okay. It's okay. I learned from the best. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. And also, just generally, organize. There's nothing but like organizing yourself and organizing people around you to ensure that we all we know is what we know. We can't help you guys if you come to us, 5 seconds before you're about to go to court for X, Y, Z reasons. We have to know early so we can, you got to tell us the truth so we can help you out after the fact. So that's what I got. Thank you.
Okay. Do you support the community? I guess maybe everyone. Do you support the Community Land Act for Central Harlem residents?
Yes.
What is the Community Land Act? Expand. The person who wrote that question for me. To expand. Oh, yes. Do you want to expand?
So I was just in a workshop about the community land trust, and I was just wondering where you guys stood on the community land trust for Central Harlem that's trying to be organized.
Do you know about it?
No, I don't know who's involved. I don't know enough about it, but in general, I support that type of thing. But if you're talking about a group, I don't know. You know, sometimes things have friendly names, and we don't know what they are. So I'd like to learn a little bit more. You know, I was involved in uncovering a scandal in Harlem back in 1999. And some of the people who were the perpetrators of this scandal were like, you know, it was like the St. Stephen's Family Preservation Group. And meanwhile, they were still in brownstones and carrying on. I'm not saying that's the case. I just haven't heard of this, and I don't know what it is, but I do support community land trust. Okay, well, the land trust, yes, I do support those. I don't know how we're gonna see how that applies to Harlem, because we don't have a bunch of, but I support it. I support that, yes, in general.
Oh, no, I have a question, but really quickly. In the Assembly, we have the topic, which is my bill, and it's the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, which gives the first choice to buy, give home rentals the first choice to buy their rental buildings before landlords buy them. Just FYI.
That's close.
Okay, this next question was, how can we stop the warehousing of tens of thousands of apartments?
Yeah, you know, I brought this question up with NYCHA in particular, and also with, I tried to bring it up in terms of let's proving that there's these units that are down. This is the data they brought back to me, that we're at 1%, which is what we've been for a long time, decades. However, in public housing, the answer I've been given is that because of all the renovations that are taking place, all the rad packs, all the things that are going on, they are preserving units so that they can checkerboard people. When the renovations are taking place in certain units, they need units to move people to temporarily until their unit is fixed and moved back. This is the answer we've been given, but if you know of any, whoever raised that question, if you know of any specific case that you want us to look at, I'm happy. I called NYCHA out on this. We cannot afford to warehouse any apartment. We have a shelter system full of people, not just migrants. There are children and families who have been waiting on apartments. So we are definitely looking at public housing and seeing that this is really the one place that we have that we can send those families to, because it's the one place that they can afford with 30% of their income.
It's rent stabilized apartments.
Oh, rent stabilized. Well, that's the answer they came back with, the rent stabilized. Or another answer they tell me, Senator, you know, what it costs for us to bring that apartment up to code after a vacancy, we can't afford on the rent we're being allowed to charge. This is what they tell us. Now, last year we upped, there's a vacancy credit that we give to landlords, and we did up it some, so they should be able to start bringing those apartments online, because we don't want them to fail, but at the same time, we need those apartments. That's one of the answers we've been given.
Okay. This next question, I think I'm reading it correctly, but I'm going to say these departments they're not representing these agencies, but maybe they can offer some help from their perspective. Are you aware of any, from I guess, DOH, MH, or HPD, any plans to provide training for landlords, management to deal with behavioral health issues in their buildings? And the other question was, will there be any funding for elderly home repair programs? Home repair programs.
Yeah, I'm not aware, but that's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
But more importantly for me is to dedicate funding to supportive housing. My landlord, you can teach landlords to deal with it, but a lot of what we're dealing with is people who need to be in a supportive environment. They need to be in a place where there is help on the premises, where there are people who can check on them. I have a lot of supportive housing in my district, and works really well. We have to fund them better, and we're doing that in this year's budget, thank God. But we have housing where, you know, there's a social worker on premise. There are people on the premise who can help people, check on them, and taking their medication. We haven't heard from this person, we haven't seen this person. There's a smell coming from the apartment. Are they cleaning? Are they doing the things that they need to do? That is what we have to make an investment in. And we can't just dump people in the middle of public housing because they can afford it, or dump them in another type of setting without the supports that are needed in order for, what was the other part? Oh, senior repair. Yeah, let me look, I gotta get back to you on that. I know we wanted to do something with the Fix It program, so we did give some money to them. I don't have the exact dollar amount, but what we did do is in our one house, we put money aside for a resident assistant in senior housing. Because a lot of seniors, they just need help with little things. My whole goal as chair of the aging, I want seniors to stay home as long as they can. They do better if they stay in their apartments as long as they possibly can. And that is such a good thing. You know, they live longer, they live better, they feel better, they just need a little bit of help. So we're trying to put these assistants in those communities, as well as the money that we give for North communities, to make sure if something's happening and they need somebody to help get a repair, help, even just show them how to use their cell phone, and the grandkids are not available. They can have somebody who can help them. Well, that's what y'all are for. You didn't know that? Grandchildren were created for that. But in any event, we are putting money into those things. But I like the idea of landlords also learning how to deal with people with behavioral health issues, who to call, okay? Not the police in most cases. They're not equipped for that. But connecting them with the right services. Sometimes somebody's just having an episode, and that's just a symptom of their illness. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. You may not like it, you may not, but that's what it is. It's just their illness happening. So we should have training for landlords and a whole lot of other people.
Just want to speak really quickly on two things. Number one, sometimes it's children, not just grandchildren. Not exposing anybody else. So, sorry. Yeah. The Assembly in the one house, we put $1.5 billion in for supportive housing. So the Assembly is looking to fund supportive housing to ensure that, you know, New Yorkers of all creeds and, you know, abilities can have somewhere to live. So $1.5 billion for supportive housing, something that we, you know, Member Taylor and myself really fought for, made sure it was in there at conference. So I just wanted to put that out that we're out here fighting for you guys in conference as well.
Okay, next question comes from Rango Housing. And I don't know if we have an answer, but are we getting new bricks for our building? Bricks.
Bricks for the walkway, bricks for the building. Okay, so that sounds like a pointing issue, capital improvement. So if you give me a minute, we have in our one house something like 150 million for NYCHA. However, that's a drop in the bucket or a spit in the ocean, because a baller can cost you more than that. And unfortunately, and I'm not passing the buck, it's federal.
It is a federal issue, and please hold all your elected officials accountable.
There's an empty seat.
What happened?
There's an empty seat.
Oh, there's an empty,
No, for the federal.
Oh, right, I see, Mr. Chair. We have to do that. Y'all have to make noise on every level, but we too in the one house. And our $1 billion toward City of Yes, over $500,000, $500 million has been dedicated to public housing. We hope that it stays in the one house. We hope that that's what we get three-way agreement on, because we know this desperately needed. Public housing, like I said before earlier, it has been divested. Our federal government has walked away from public housing. Okay, they are not doing anything. And yes, we went through many years of mismanagement because the money was there. But the fact is, it's not now, and people are still suffering. So we can't allow that to happen. So we're putting in as much as we can to make sure that we can make that happen. We'll look at NYCHA has a capital plan, 5-year capital plan that we should look at and see if Rainbow is slated for work this year.
And I'll raise that. I will send that question momentarily to Brian Honan, who is government relations. So if he answers before I finish, I'll give you that answer, whoever that question came from.
Okay, we like to see those answers coming. I'm going to read a couple questions that we might not be able to answer here, right? But one question that came in, why is the mayor and the governor not here? I don't know if they were invited, okay? Just to let you know. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know. And I don't, no one's responsible for answering that one. But we do have we had our city public advocate's office here. We're grateful for the elected officials who are here. There was a question about Housing Connect, or not, there's a question about who do I report to dark streets and lighting between 134th Street between 7th and 8th to prevent muggings in the dark. Okay, so we're gonna 311 that. We can call our offices, and if you want to answer, okay.
Oh, Chair, definitely please reach out to our office. I have my chief of staff here with us. I have members of my office here. Rhoda Brown, make sure you get her card, because all of these things, we've been getting these reports, right? My district manager, Shani Herrera, has been receiving a lot of these reports all last year. And we need to make sure that we do something immediately about this stuff. So please reach out to our office again so we can reach out to the right agencies to make sure that we have safety in our communities.
When we shout about staff, I have my chief of staff and my legislative director, please stand and wave so they know how to talk to somebody if they can't get to me. Wendy Olivo and Usman Diallo.
All of our staff. Stacey Marius. And I know, well, I'm not gonna shout nobody else's staff out, but you can do that. Lucas Pasquino is here from my office. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm looking around. I know Samantha Lowe is here. We call Rhoda Brown out. That's my chief of staff. Shani Herrera is our district manager. And y'all know Rondell, so you know I'm running for office as well. This is election season for me. That's my campaign manager, Rondell. You don't want that.
We're partisan free right now.
My staff is here as well. My scheduler and community liaison, Zenobia Guillory, is in the building. She's very friendly. My office can be reached at 212-866-5809. And 212-866-5809. I've had that number memorized for about 30 years, don't ask why. And we can, be helpful. My chief of staff, Maurice Cummings, is on the way. I'm not sure he's going to get here on time. And then my district office manager, Regina Mimiyazi, they're always there. I'm at Albany a lot of the time. I will be at Albany for most of the next 2 weeks for budget season. So that's not going to be fun. Greetings from Albany. It'll be cold, it'll be snowy, but the hard work will get done, and we'll be fighting for all of you. So thank you.
So while we're doing this, I think this information, I want to actually allow elected officials, we're going to have to wrap it up. I think this is the best way to end this forum, is by them giving their contact information and their staff, so that in case if your question wasn't answered, or if you want to follow up with them, please do so. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. So my district office number is 212-222-7315. And I think that number's been there since the days of Karma Call. I refuse to change it because I know so many people know it, and I want you to always know it. You know you can reach us there. I am in Albany most of the week with these folks you see over here.
No hanging out.
No hanging out, but we're there. But that doesn't mean that you can't get service from our office. We have capable staffs. I know some of you want to speak with me directly. If you you do, I have no problem with that. Just it's gonna mean you're gonna have to wait a little longer sometimes. And I've been meeting with people on Saturdays, and now it's turning into Sundays, and it's fine. But if you want something right away, you can certainly contact my staff, and they'll relate it to me, and we'll work on it together. So 212-222-7315, Adam Clayton Powell Jr. State Office Building, 9th floor, room 912. Thank you.
And I'm happy to announce that we have just moved into the state office building. As a matter of fact, I had my first meeting there today. So we're on the second floor. 222 is the suite. The number is the same. If you don't have the phone number to our district office, that number is 212-678-4505. And like I said, my chief of staff is in the audience. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Woman Brown is here. If you want to reach me directly, this is one of the most challenging things. Because what's interesting about my public office is that I'm not just a councilman, I'm also one of the members of the Exonerated Five, and there's a lot of pain that has been experienced in our community. And a lot of people want to see us, a lot of people want to stop us. Just the other day I was on 125th Street, and literally I said, you know what? It's off hours, let me just go grab something from CVS and Whole Foods. My wife was at work. It took 2 hours. My wife was at work, she was still at work. She gets off at 5. I got home, it was like 8 o'clock. And it took almost 3 hours just to navigate a few steps on 125th Street. But that's because so many people are in pain and needing services and support. And we're here for that. That's why we were elected, right?
We have real strong time limits, but we have to be out of here at 3:30. So can we hold those questions? We have to be out of here at 3:30.
Hey folks, can I just give you all my information for the office? Okay. Hey, my number is 212-234-1430. 212-234-1430. And if you want the email, is taylora@nyassembly.gov. taylora@nyassembly.gov. And I would say the same thing she said. If you want to catch up with me, it could be a little longer. Unless you want to pop in on a Sunday morning, you can catch me at church in the pulpit. I'd be glad to talk to you after you spend 2 hours.
So real quick, I'm not too far away from these wonderful individuals. I'm in State Office Building, Suite 911, directly next to Senator Cleare. Happy to be of service to you all. If you want to get me directly, similar thing what Member Taylor said. In addition to that, you can ask the councilor about the famous story when he went to Trader Joe's the first day of the week. And he had to call me.
I'm gonna pass it to you. Also, the last Friday of every month in my office from 8 a.m., 8:30 to 11. 8 a.m. to 11:30, the last Friday of every month. If you are a constituent that lives in the district, you can walk in and have a conversation without an appointment for 15 minutes.
Okay, so before we go,
I just got one quick spotlight. And community, I need your help, I need your help, I need your help. The young lady in the front reminded me of a very important issue. When Trader Joe's opened, I went into Trader Joe's, I swear I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get the almond milk, the celery, all of the stuff that I usually get. It took about an hour before I could even navigate the store. Jordan Wright, he was still my chief of staff at the time, he came to get me. There was no cell service, so I don't even know how you knew I was there. But what the biggest concern was, amongst many concerns, a lot of people asked me and stopped me about a lot of things, but two people stopped me. And this is the most concerning. This is why I need our people to come together on this. Two people, not together, at two separate times, both of them pulled out a pen that they needed to inject themselves in the privacy of a bathroom. There is no bathroom in Trader Joe's. A lot of the, even Whole Foods has a bathroom.
No, they don't anymore.
They have a bathroom, just like Starbucks has a bathroom. I used to work for Starbucks. I know where the bathroom is at. All I'm saying is that I know why they close the bathrooms. We have to figure out how we as a community are treated like human beings and not treated like animals.
Thank you. So before we go, I just want to we have to get out of the building by 3:30 with a permit, but we're going to take a picture, but I do have to say this. This forum was organized, again, by Brianna McClure. Where's Brianna? And Delsenia. Let's give them a round of applause, okay? Irene Henry and our Housing and Land Use Committee. We're really grateful for all of you that came out today. This was a success. Oh, this is the more questions we have, we gotta do another one. So we gotta do more and more. So we gotta keep this going. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, John.